Welcome to Theory of Conspiracy. A couple of northern lads from the UK discuss plots, cover-ups, and the unexplainable.
Hi, I'm Andy the Skeptic.
Hello, I'm Carlos. I believe.
Let's do it
Well,
now.
just
do
do it. We're in the flow. We're in the zone, as they say. It's a bit like you walking over to the ocean with a cup and taking a sample. Yeah, definitely no whales live in that ocean. Because I think you need more scientists like me in the scientific department. I think.
I'm gonna have to leave it there.
For a person who's Mr. Sci-Fi, you don't look into it anymore, do you? I think you've had a bad experience with it or something.
If you would like to support the podcast, please talk about this with your friends or give us a review on iTunes. You can comment or contribute at TheoConPod, that's at TheoConPod, or check the link in the podcast description.
Hello and welcome back, or if this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. Today is Friday the 26th of February, and this is episode 4 of season 2. Today we've got for you a conversation myself and Carlos actually had when we recorded episode 2 of season 2. When we recorded a previous episode about crop circles, I believe it was episode 2 of season 2. That conversation went on far too long as it was, and there was enough content in the second half of our conversation to put out a completely second episode. And that one was about Oumuamua, which was the first known interstellar object detected passing through our solar system, detected in October 2017. So that's what you can look forward to listening to. We were really chuffed to have a couple of extra listeners on our live stream on Wednesday that found us via the podcast. So that was good. If you want to check out our live stream, or if you want to check out a competition we've got going to win a t-shirt, then check out the links in the show notes or find us on social media, and all the details are on our Facebook page. If you can't find that, please let me know, because there's been a very slow take up on the competition. There's literally like a 1 in 10 chance of winning a t-shirt at the moment, so yeah, head on over. It's free. Give it a go. You gotta be in it to win it, as they say. So yeah, there we go. Like I say, not one of our usual episodes, but hopefully the main bulk of the content and the chat between me and Carlos is as you would normally expect. If you are a first time listener, maybe go for one of our previous episodes rather than diving in on this one. But I don't know. You guys can be the judge of that. Thanks for listening. See you soon.
Listen up, this is the main bit.
Oumuamua. Obviously, I apologise if I've not pronounced it correctly.
Sounds right to me.
Oumuamua. It's sort of like it's discovered in a telescope in Hawaii. I think it means messenger or something, or messengers from the stars. The person who's sort of brought it to the forefront of everybody's attention is a guy called Avi Loeb. He's a professor at Harvard University, so very well respected. All the usual suspects, like people like Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson, and you name it, they've all sort of said, "Oh, some kind of asteroid, or it could be a comet which has come from another solar system or interstellar, and it came through our solar system." It was traveling so far. Just to simplify it, basically, how it came, I think we came into our attention 2000. Correct me if I'm wrong on the dates. 2017, say March time, and we sort of got it by accident when it was sort of like already sort of flying around the sun. So it's a bit like you've been sat. So the example Avi Loeb gives is a bit like you've been sat with someone, and then you realise the guy was sat next to you when he's just leaving, walking out the front door. But they still managed to get some information from it. The information I found, where I've read his literature and I've watched lots of documentaries on him, different podcasts from different people, and other people opposing it. The thing was, what I found really interesting is like how people are quick to say, no, it's not that, because we don't know, it can't be this, it can't be aliens, it can't be this. He's not said it's alien because he's done all, as a scientist would do, he's dotted the I's, crossed the T's, he's done all the check boxes. Could it be an asteroid? No. Could it be a comet? No. Could it be a anything, something flying from the asteroid belt or the Oort cloud? All that, he checked it. He's checking all the boxes. What could it be?
He's not.
The one thing he has.
He's not.
He's checked it. He's checked.
He's not.
He has.
What?
He's checked. Let me finish. The one thing. The one. No, because you can't just say he has checked, because he's the thing. What sort of brought it to his real attention is this could have been sort of like a disc shaped. It could have been flat surface. He says the size of a football pitch, for example. When the sun was, because this was spinning quite quickly, the light being emitted from Oumuamua was 10 times the factor than normal asteroids or comets. Plus the speed it was coming at. It was traveling at 50,000 kilometers per second, whereas an asteroid is 20,000 kilometers per second. This was double the speed. Plus, as it was going towards the sun, it was picking up speed by itself. It got faster.
Let me stop you before you reel too much stuff off, because I've not really had my eye on this for the past 3 years, but let me just go back to right. So you mentioned checking all the boxes, and then you mentioned about its light that was coming off it, which they used to determine what shape and size it was, and also its speed. So a few things there. First of all, checking all the boxes. He's not checked the boxes and says it can't be this, it can't be that. The documentary, if you want to call it, the videos and stuff that I've watched where he's been interviewed. And it wasn't the Joe Rogan one. I didn't have access. I don't have Spotify, so it wasn't that one. But what happened is, yes, he looked at it and he went, okay. The reason it brought attention is because, based on its angle and stuff and its trajectory, they determined where it had come from. And according to him, they believe that it was in a like a normalized state of rest with the rest of the universe. So obviously you know that we don't just travel around the sun. The sun is also traveling around
the black hole
at a certain speed, and it's and it's traveling through the solar system, through the galaxy, and the galaxy is also traveling through the solar system. So the reason this is special is because they don't think it came from our solar system. It came from somewhere else, because it was, before it was picked up by our gravity, it was at an average state of rest in comparison with all the other stars. And so that's the first anomaly that he goes, oh, that's a bit weird. Why would a bit of rock be it?
Because it's not controlled by it's not controlled by the sun, basically. That's why.
Yeah. So imagine that bit of rock is stationary, and then as we travel towards it, it gets in our gravity field, and then it starts falling towards the sun. Yeah. So he says, oh, that's extraordinary that there's a stationary bit of rock. Why would it be stationary? Because normally everything's moving, because it's been thrown out of something, or it's had a collision with something, or something's blown up. And it's like, well, a million things could have happened to it to make it stationary relative to the other stars. It could have hit another object, and that might also explain its shape, which we'll come on to. So anyway, he's not done this tick box exercise and ruled everything out. He said that the brightness of it, its peak brightness, let's say its peak brightness is a scale of 100, and it's at 100, and most meteors are at 20. Most meteors, might be at 20 luminosity, but you can get meteors that are at 20. But it's rare. But what he's not saying is we can definitely rule out that it's too shiny. He's not said that. The shape and the rotation, he's also not said. He's not ruled them out. If you actually listen to it, yes, all these factors about it are all on the fringe of what could be, and that just adds to why it's special. The reason it's special is because they, like you say, they think it's interplanetary, not interplanetary, interstellar. It's
It's
another
interstellar, basically.
yeah, it's another
So
visitor from another solar system. So
so the thing is,
so that's the tick box, right? So it's again, it's luminosity. I touched on that. There are loads of different estimates out there about its size and shape and they've
they
admitted.
say roughly it could be
Go on.
disc shaped, a flat
Yeah.
disc shaped, and
It could-
the size of a football pitch.
Yeah, but it also could be cigar shaped and it could be 100 meters long, but only
The cigar shape,
only 5 meters wide.
the cigar shape was that's just an artist's interpretation. That was because the way it was shining, the only way to get that kind of shine, it'd have to be a flat surface to get that shine. That's why the cigar shape.
He says that now, but if you read some of the other things, and he admits that they didn't have enough stuff on it because they pointed to get a better shot of it because some satellites didn't even pick it up. It was that dim.
Star pan. I think it's called Star pan.
No, I thought it was Hubble. Wasn't it Hubble they pointed at
No, it's
it
not Hubble.
for a
No,
few
it's
hours?
Star. I think it could be Star
was
pan.
it?
It could be Hubble. I got Star pan in my head for some reason.
All right, but its rotation, its wobble, was like it was like an 8-hour cycle. I know Commander Kremen's saying stuff in the thing about it. It was already flying when we spotted it, Commander Kremen. You're right, but this is what if you listen to Avi, he says about it. He's saying it was stationary, and we've flown into it, and then it started moving towards us. Right, that is his argument.
And it
So
picked
it's
up speed, and everybody's in agreement.
Hold on.
It picked up speed.
I'm definitely coming to that. So its wobble was about 8 hours. So it wasn't that fast. It wasn't spinning that fast. It took 8 hours to rotate. But they said that whatever telescope it was that was pointing at, even in the thing I saw where Avi was speaking, he said, "Oh, it's a shame we didn't have it pointing longer because we would have had more data and been able to extrapolate its size even better." So even then, he's saying, it could have been these different shapes, and other people have said we think it was this shape. It was a flat cigar type shape, right? Not, So he's done all these tick boxes. What he did is him, and I think it was another scientist, and he's the only one that's going off the limelight on this. The other scientist, his name's gone quiet. I can't remember what his name was. I did see it, but I didn't make a note. But what they did is they went, well, let's just pretend that it's let's just surmise that it's a solar sail, right? If it was a solar sail, would it tick the check boxes for a solar sail? So they did this in this paper that he wrote. He didn't cross. And now when he's been interviewed and he's trying to sell books, he's going, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. But if you look at some of these earlier interviews, he wasn't saying that. He was just saying, and if you look at other sources that also reported the same fact, he's just saying it was just a mental exercise. Could it be a solar sail? And if it was, would the readings that we're seeing back up the fact? And it turns out, actually, yes, it could have been a solar sail if you were taking these readings and that. So going to its speed, it wasn't its speed going into the sun, because things do accelerate as you fall towards the sun. It's its speed coming off the back of the sun, because as you travel away from the sun, you've picked up a lot of speed coming in, and as you travel away, you've still got gravity behind you pulling you back and slowing you down. Yeah, do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Right.
like a slingshot.
Yeah. So what they're saying is, for its size and weight, it's not that it's sped up. It's just that it did not slow down as much as they thought it was going to slow down because of the pull of gravity. And a lot of people are saying that it's the fact that as it heats up, a lot of comets, and this also explains why it's got a bit of a spin. But a lot of comets start giving off gases and stuff. You've seen the classic comet with a trail, haven't you? Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it comes. The comet's
Yeah.
like it means like a hair trail, because a comet is mainly frozen ice. So when they get towards the sun, it starts evaporating and it creates like a trail behind it. That's the difference between a comet, whereas an asteroid is all hard rock.
Yeah.
That's
An asteroid. Yeah. But there's a bit of an in between. You can have a bit of both. You can have rock with ice on it and materials on
But
it.
this one,
And
they couldn't
the
see
fact,
they couldn't see anything. They couldn't
yeah,
see anything on this one.
they couldn't. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They couldn't see anything. So normally, when dust is given off, it's small particles of dust. And the type of dust, in order for you to see a trail on a comet, the halo and the trail, the dust has to be a certain size and it also has to be reflective. If it wasn't, you wouldn't see it. Now, the gases that are given off by comet are very hard to see. Very, very hard. But they're obviously there because the gases is what's expelling the
Yeah.
dust at the same time. Now, all they're saying is, okay, it's unlikely and it's rare, but they're not saying they've never seen it before. If you look at some of the other people that have looked into this, not just his word for it, but if it was giving off large dust particles, it would be harder to see. It could be expelling gas without any dust particles because maybe all its timing into stellar space, the dust has either been already wiped off by other cosmic rays and impacts on it, or it's formed a very hard crust, so the dust isn't coming off, right? So sorry, Commander Kramer, I'm not really getting to all your comments because it's too hard just to battle Carlos at the moment. So you don't get. There are reasons to explain why you can't see anything and why it's extremely hard to see these things. And there's shots in some of the articles I've seen where they've shown with certain satellite images and certain types of camera imagery, like heat camera and stuff like that.
There's no
The
images.
gases.
There's no image. There's no
No,
images.
not of
There's no
this, not of
images.
this, of other objects that have behaved in the same
Oh
way.
yeah,
And they've
I'm assuming, yeah. But this is the first time we've come across this, so we can only judge this by this. We can't judge it by anything else. That's the thing, because all the one thing Avi Loeb was, he says, because Joe Rogan asked him and Lex Friedman asked him as well, why are you the only? He says, I'm not the only person. There's a lot of people like me who are talking behind the scenes, but they don't want to go public with it because they don't want to be sort of ridiculed. And that's the thing where he says, it's for some reason the scientific world are scared of saying, do you know what? It could be extraterrestrial. It could be, because the analogy he gave, he said for example, he said I don't think it's a space. It could be some kind of space junk from an old civilization. He said it just could be like a car bonnet just flying across the sort of. No, to give you an example, it just
But he
something says.
he really thinks
Says,
it's an alien probe, though, doesn't he? That's what he really thinks. If you were asked him to guess what it is, he would.
I think he thinks
Go
it's
on.
space junk from another because I think Joe Rogan asked him the same question. I think Lex Friedman asked him the question. He says he thinks it's just space junk from another civilization, basically. Like one day in a billion years' time, another planet may come across our Voyager flying across there, and that'll be just space junk basically flying across someone else's solar system.
Okay, but yeah, okay. Voyager doesn't have solar sails, though, does it? It's got solar panels for power, but I get what you're saying. So going back to his maths and the solar sails, right? So on the solar radiation acceleration, that's why he thinks it's accelerating, not because of outgassing, which is this gas. It heats up and it gives out gas,
Yeah.
like trumps itself away, sort of thing. So he's like, well, so solar radiation is hitting these light panel, this big solar wave. And this is why it's a big flat shape. It's a big, very thin. Like you say, it'd have to be like a football field, but it'd have to be like millimeters thin, right? So for it to work. So the solar radiation hits it and it pushes it away, right? So there's actually a mathematic calculation. It's called the inverse square law. And basically what it says is the acceleration decreases with the square of the distance from the sun. So the further it gets from the sun, square that, and its acceleration drops off, okay? However, because outgassing is also caused by solar radiation, solar activity, the exact same, and this is where I come back to him doing his maths. They did this maths thing and went, can we rule out a solar sail? And they went, actually, no, we can't rule out a solar sail So it could be that. It doesn't mean that is it, and he's ruled out all asteroids. It just means it's an option, but it's
It could be an asteroid we've never come across. It could be exactly. It could be. It's the. I'm not saying it's definitely alien. I'm just the thing. What upsets me is how the scientific world, who are meant to be the open-minded, are quick to go. No, it's definitely not that. It's the big.
it's not.
It definitely
Do you
can't
know?
be.
Do you know what the issue is? The issue is media coverage, because they've picked up on aliens. Whenever aliens are mentioned, you know, that is the
Yeah, yeah.
explanation they run with, and that gets the
Well,
attention,
that
right?
goes that's clickbait, isn't it? It's clickbait that.
Exactly right. And also, right, this guy, this scientist, right? I'm not sure what the levels of pay are. They can vary, but I don't think it's a massively well paid. But it's probably
He is a professor. He's a professor at Harvard. He's probably £500,000 a year.
wow. But okay, but that geek that's working at Harvard, right? He has not been used to the overwhelming attention that this has brought him, right? Everyone's wanted to speak to him about this in his paper once the media got hold of it, right? And that has definitely inspired his extraterrestrial book. It's called Extraterrestrial. That's the title of it. Do you not think he's just seeking the limelight and trying to just keep
No, because
running with it and
he's
going on
probably
to
saying,
things like
listen,
Joe Rogan?
no, because he doesn't do social media, so he's just writing a book. Because what he found, he says, I was talking to people, fellow scientists, and they will go, "Oh no, it's definitely not alien." It's like very blinkered. It's like
Well,
he said.
but
Joe Rogan asked
I
him,
wouldn't
"No, but
go on.
because people sort of that are quick to go, it's definitely not that. It's not that. It's that." And it's but let's open up to the fact. If it was extraterrestrial, what would this mean? Does that mean we're going to get more visitations, for example, or we're
Yeah,
going to see more?
that's what if that is very unscientific, and we're not getting to the bottom of
No, but
what we think it
no,
is.
but
I've
it's
just
because
remembered the name of the other guy that wrote this thing with him. He's called Shamul Bailey, or Shamul Shamul Biali.
yeah.
And apparently, did that name come up? Because apparently, this guy, this Shamul, he's always quoting that Sherlock Holmes. Apparently, he's always going, what's the saying? When you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. That one.
No, I don't know.
If you eliminate, yeah, yeah, it's yeah. But apparently he's always quoting that, and he's always using that as, oh well, we've eliminated, and you said it yourself. Oh, he's eliminated. It's a rock because of this, that, and the other. But he's actually not. He's actually not. And yeah, you could use that against him.
You can help support the podcast or keep in touch with the boys by following them on Twitch and subscribing on YouTube. Please check the link in the show notes when you get a moment.
Well, there's a great analogy he used was the godfather of science, Galileo Galilei, who said, "You know what? We're not the center of the universe. I think we go round the sun." Oh, that's heresy. He was carrying on Nicholas Copernicus's work. He was a famous scientist a few years before him. And Giordano Bruno was the first person to be burnt at the stake by the Vatican for heresy, because he started talking about the stars and the planets orbiting each other. And everyone says he got burnt at the stake by the Vatican because everybody went against him. Galileo Galilei was put under house arrest. That actually helped him because he just concentrated on his scientific work. But it wasn't so long ago when people thought Galileo Galilei was a weirdo, saying that the Earth was not the center of the universe and everything orbits us, not we orbit the star, our mother planet, our mother star, basically. And that just shows, and that's where people. So all he does is he couldn't scientifically prove it, but he posed a question, and then years later he was proven correct. This is what Avi Loeb is doing. He's just probing, asking the questions. And as scientists or as inquisitive human beings, why don't we just look into it? Why are we quick to
Because
shut it off?
the only way to look into it, and he hypothesizes this, so it's already too far away to see. It was already in
Yeah,
2018 too far away to see. So the only thing to do is to build something that can go faster than it and chase it down. right? And then when it gets there, in the rough region, have a look for it, and then go and investigate it. That is just not going to happen. It would take thousands of years to catch it up, because you've got to get an object up to that speed. I mean, going back to its acceleration,
I think it's 50,000 kilometers per second.
I didn't make a note of the speed, but apparently the speed that Oumuamua entered our star system, right? Like I say, they didn't see it enter, so this is just extrapolated from the data they know about it when they captured it almost at the sun. But from that speed, they say it would have been 1 million years since its last interstellar interaction. It's obviously been thrown out by another star system.
Yep.
So, but it would have taken 1 million years to get to it, right? If it was a light sail, it should be traveling, like a lot faster. They say about, I don't know what it is, but 20% the speed of light. What is that speed? It's a lot faster than
No,
what you're
he's not saying he's not saying it's a light sail. It could be just space junk from another civilization. He says it could be
it's easy
a
just to
space
keep
junk from
changing
another
the story
civilization.
or any argument that
Well,
goes
because
against.
Andy, because we don't know. That's what you do. You start posing questions. Could it be this? Could it be that? It's like, I'm assuming when Isaac Newton was coming up with the laws of gravity, he probably started changing. I bet you he did. It was a straight dictation from God. He probably had literature and books of working out, and he probably created. He actually created a new form of mathematics. He created calculus to try and explain his theories, because he couldn't explain it properly. So he invented a new mathematics, calculus. Newton did that. So
Yeah.
that's because these are the things what these do. They just change the way we think about things, and we just go, what if it was space junk? And obviously now they're going to start putting other telescopes up there, more powerful ones, which are going to be able to look for these as well. Because obviously they said these could be regular things, but we're completely missing it. The scary thought is this could have been on a collision course with Earth, and we wouldn't have known when it's too late.
Well, there's loads of stuff like that, man. We don't have enough. They've been saying for years about the detection system. We don't have a detection system because it is very hard until it gets like objects that size, until they get heated up by the sun and start giving off a trail, or they get nearer the sun and the right angle to reflect the light at us. It's very hard to see. You're absolutely right. It's stuff coming in from.
Because if you think about it, if we believe mainstream archaeology, the big extinction was 65 million years ago with the dinosaurs, but obviously there was another extinction, not as bad as about 11,000 years ago, which could have wiped out civilizations on our planet. So clearly, we probably overdue a massive hit. You know what I mean? God
we're
hope we don't get hit, but we're probably overdue.
We're overdue loads of sort of stuff, man. When you start looking, the best book to get your I don't know if you've read it. You should read this, Carlos. It's Bill Bryson, and it's a short history of everything. And the first few chapters of that, you're just like, how are we even here? Why have we not been wiped out time and time again? Have you ever read that?
Do you know? No, I've not read about Bill Bryson. But do you know why we've not been wiped out? And this is the bit where you start thinking, because of our big brother,
God is
Jupiter.
us.
No, Jupiter.
Oh, right.
Jupiter, our big brother. No, Jupiter takes.
Yeah.
There was that famous one in '95. The moon as well. Jupiter's the big brother. Jupiter is, without Jupiter, we would be fucked without Jupiter. We'll be fucked. Jupiter takes all the hit from us. He pulls everything away.
Yeah. Going back to Avi, right? So in the video I watched as well, he was like, "Oh well, one of his reasons why he thinks it's some sort of extraterrestrial is he's like, well, the chances of it coming so close to us are that rare." But then he sort of like in the same sentence he sort of backtracks. So first of all, he's saying it's that rare, it must be intentional. Right, rare is rare. Just because blindfolded you hit a treble 20 on a darts board, right? Once in every 1,000 darts you randomly throw after you've spun round 3 times, right? Doesn't mean the chances of it will never happen. It doesn't mean that it must be intentional. But then he doesn't backtrack, but he just sort of like breaks his own argument down, I think, because he just carries on saying.
What he does is just posing questions.
He started waffling on about. It's also the fact that it's the first interstellar object that we know of. We might have seen others and not known that they were interstellar
Yeah.
objects. But he then
Because it's
saying,
got
so
I1. It's documented as I1, Interstellar 1.
yeah. But like I say, we don't know, and we don't know how many have gone past us before we had the technology to see them, right?
Yeah.
So just because it's the first one we spotted, it's that you've got to have you had to have someone invented the bike, someone invented the telephone. There had to be a bike and a light bulb and a telephone before there were more lights and bikes and telephones. But then he says in his video, so until these other satellites come online and we can see further and further away from us, he was basically saying, for this to be that close, there has to be loads more junk out there than there is. You must have
Yeah.
remembered this argument, right? But you know what he doesn't mention? So that when did he say that? He first said that in like 2018. So apparently we have discovered a second one. We've
Yeah.
discovered a
About a few,
second interstellar one called
yeah. And that's,
Borisov. So that
yeah.
already has just blown that whole portion of his argument away. There you go. Already 2 years later, and we found a second
Yeah,
one.
but
So
but that's fine. He says that's fine. That's an asteroid. Yeah, we know that. That's end of conversation. He says that's fine.
it
That's
was
an
a
asteroid.
comet, but it was still
Yeah, but that's fine. But that he says
interstellar.
that just. But he just says that's fine. He says accept that. That is the evidence there. It's an asteroid. Brilliant, excellent. Put that aside. But let's keep talking about this. And everyone goes, yeah, but I'm not sure about that.
What
And that's the bit
evidence?
with
Yeah,
it's just because what he's doing is
he's cherry
posing the
picking
question.
evidence.
It's not. It's the one thing. It's like people like Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying. He alludes to it, then he pulls it back from it. It's like he doesn't want. It's like I think I was speaking to Nick a few days ago about this, and it says you get all these professors now who have got tenure, and once you get tenure, you've got a job for life unless you become to be a mass murderer or something. So now, once you become tenure, you should be able to speak your mind, but they sort of like become like a closed book. They don't want to talk out. They don't want to be ridiculed. And he says, no, I want to ask the question. Let's ask the question. It says the people out there want to know the answer. Are we alone in the universe? Do you know what I mean? And it's like, why aren't we putting more research into this? We sort of close it off into a closet and we shut the door and we don't want to talk about it. It's like we're scared to talk about it. I don't know, and that's the bit that goes back to UFOs.
I don't think it's anything like that. I think that's just excuses why he's the only person talking about it, and why
He says publicly. He's only publicly because he doesn't want to be ridiculed. Because it's like, can you imagine you're hiring a guy and he goes, a scientist. He goes, this guy fucking believes in UFOs. He believes in God. He believes in da 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 da. Oh, you got this guy who's the normal guy, 2.4 children, nice guy. You just that's it. You don't want to be put into that category. You sort of like you put into a category if you start thinking about UFOs or you start thinking potential life beyond our planet. And that's the bit he's trying to break. He used a fantastic analogy, which I'm going to steal. He says when he was training the Israeli military, he says he sort of paraphrased it but changed it to English. Sometimes you have to put your body on the barbed wire for your colleagues to get over. So sometimes what he's trying to say is, I will put my body on the barbed wire. I will be ridiculed, but there'll be people behind me who will write books and they will be proven correct. And that's what he's doing. He's sort of like, it's like the first man through the wall always gets bloody. And then the people behind it's like Galileo, Giordano Bruno burnt at the stake. They were burnt because they were down for heresy. But 500 years later, go, oh shit, yeah, you were right. The Earth does orbit the sun, and the sun does orbit the galaxy. So that all he's doing is posing the question.
I get it, it's one of these arguments where he's just posing the question, but at the same time, he's really going out there and trying to say that Oumuamua wasn't just a comet or an asteroid. It was some sort of light sail. That's still the thing, and then the media are blowing it out, and he's getting all this
the
attention.
The media will always blow it out, won't they? They always will because they want clickbait and stuff like that. But would you not be, if you were a scientist, would you sort of like would you not be fascinated to say, okay, this is strange, the shape, the design, the speed, the
Yes,
way it
yeah,
entered
you're
the so
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And his stupid waffle about hypothesizing that it could be a lightsaber, a light sail, is taken away.
you won't say lightsaber then, didn't you?
Yeah, well, no, I don't know what I was going, but that is taken away from the people that are trying to look into it. It is interesting. It's very interesting. It's the first interstellar object that we've identified, and it's got a lot of rare properties, right? But every single one of the properties, include the amount of light, its speed, its acceleration, and again, that is the wrong word. Its lack of deceleration after going past the sun can all be explained by different means, and they are all within acceptable boundaries of other comets and asteroids that have been seen. Every single thing, they're all within. Yes, they're rare to all have that in thingy, but just because, again, coming back to Sherlock Holmes, if you want to use that, although I prefer Occam's razor, what's more likely? It's just a very rare rock, or it's alien technology that's been floating around for millions of years and just happens to come very close to us. And if it was if it was a probe visiting us, which is what Commander Kremen thinks, then didn't hang around very long, did it? And look at us or anything. If it was close enough to us, we would have seen it. But it
No, but
wasn't.
it might have been orbiting the Oort cloud where we literally we have no access to. Well, we have no access. It's like 1 light year away.
Yeah, but
So it's like, but it could
it
be
couldn't
because
tell what.
remember, yeah, but it's like we have drones now. There's a drone which could be over your head now, could read a newspaper on the floor. You know what I mean? It read a newspaper on the floor, so they don't need to be stood next to us. They could be technology just orbiting the Oort cloud, just observing us, and then it just came in
If
for
it
just
can,
a quick.
if it can
Not just
detect
because
stuff from 1 light year away. Oh man, it's just all. I mean, this isn't stuff that Avi's saying. This is stuff that people are hypothesizing and trying to make it, plausible
no,
explanations for.
I think it could be rationally explained, but the problem is, the data's not minimal, but the data's sort of, because obviously the example he gave is a bit like you've been sat next to someone, and the only time you notice him when he's walking out the front door.
The chat room says we can theorize what we want. All theories are valid. We just don't know. You're absolutely right. You can. But when you start going round on podcasts with Joe Rogan trying to flaunt that this is some sort of alien tech, then he's asking for ridicule.
Don't forget you can leave us a review on iTunes and we will mention it on the show, or send us an audio message to get your voice on air. You can ask us or say anything you like. Check out the links on our social media for our merch store. Each purchase will contribute 50 pence towards supporting the podcast. Also, subscribing to our YouTube and Twitch channels, or sharing this podcast with friends is very much appreciated.